So the drivers being rounded up, making their way towards the podium, and proof that Formula 3 racing can be exciting, can have lots of overtaking, and a great drive by both Dan Ticktum, but also impressive effort by Fabio Scherer, his best finish of the season thus far, and a very well-deserved second place. So there, the drivers come up the stairs from the pit lane to the back of the podium, and they will shortly be called forward, ready for the presentations to be made. 2 podiums will operate, one of course for the rookies. There is Dan Ticktum, the Red Bull overalls. Tino Akama, the media delegate, has brought in Ahmed for the rookie podium. And the drivers take on some liquid, put the crash helmets down, have a chance to discuss the race with either teammates or rivals or both. And then we'll, in a few moments' time, prepare themselves for the celebrations to get underway. One more race still to come, of course, for F3. That's tomorrow morning, 9:10. We're on our local time. And Stefano Ortelli, the winner of the Spa 24 Hours, I noticed there to make the presentations. Part of the Emile Frey Racing Jaguar squad. And he will, I'm sure, be only too pleased to acknowledge the efforts of the current crop of young drivers excelling in Formula 3. So everybody with a story to tell. Stefano Ortelli, the Spa 24-hour winner, Le Mans winner, ready to hand over the winners' trophies. So I think now pretty much everybody is present and correct. So the green drivers are there, and on instruction they will be brought forward. So the drivers are ready, and so the winner for the 3rd time this year, Dan Ticktum, steps forward, the Pilote Britannique, for the top step of the podium. A very happy man indeed, because that should put him into the lead of the championship as well. For second place, Fabio Scherer steps forward, his best finish of the season thus far in a Motor Park 1-2. And then for 3rd place, it is Jehan Daruvala. So Motor Park and Carlin, the top 3. And for Dan Ticktum, there's now the national anthem. Bravo Dan Ticktum, winner of round 14 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. And so the presentations will be made. And Stefano Ortelli, as the Spa 24 and Le Mans winner, steps forward to congratulate Dan Ticktum. 3rd victory of the season. One more race to come from Spa tomorrow. Our congratulations to Dan Ticktum, Fabio Scherer and Jehan Daruvala as the top 3. We'll have race 3 tomorrow. For now, from Spa and David Anderson, it's bye-bye.
Hello everybody, welcome along to a very sunny, very hot Spa-Francorchamps as we get set for the first Formula Renault Eurocup race of the weekend. Well, it's almost the weekend because unusually for us we are racing on a Friday and Saturday, which is part of the Spa 24-hour race weekend. That's the reason why. And of course it's been a very short turnaround since we were last at the Red Bull Ring just a few days ago. We're now into the second half of the season. There you can see just how hot it is here. Yesterday it reached 37 degrees air temperature. Today it's very, very similar, and a real challenge ahead for the drivers. I was speaking to Jarno Opmeer earlier on in the day, and he said in each session the drivers lose 2 litres of fluid. That equates to around about 1.2 kilograms of their body weight gone during the course of a free practice session or a qualifying session or a race. They get it all back, of course, but it just goes to show how physically fit these drivers need to be in these conditions. And of course it's one of the most challenging circuits on the 2018 calendar, and what a calendar it is. Spa-Francorchamps here, where they will be competing around this circuit, which is just over these days 7 kilometres in length, full throttle for 78% of the lap, with some of the incredibly high-speed corners that we have. There you can see one of the additional drivers that we have on the grid this weekend. There are 4 of them because we are also joined this weekend, as we will be a few times this season, by drivers from the Formula Renault NEC Championship, the Northern European Cup. So number 91, Darius Gattas, who's here with the Andus Motorsport team. Number 5, Gabriel Gandulia, the Argentinian driver. The Swiss driver Sharon Scolari, number 92. And Phil Hill, number 90, in the Andus Motorsports car. There is Sharon Scolari, who's coming to single-seater racing for the first time. At 23, she is just about the oldest driver of the field. She's very experienced. She's got 9 years car racing experience. Started out in the little Legends 5/8 scale races, and did well in that, was a rookie champion in that, and then moved into the Lotus Cup Europe, where she was almost the champion and a 9-time race winner. So those drivers, although they're competing on the same grid, are competing for their own championship points. Lots of the Formula Renault Eurocup drivers also compete in the Formula Renault Northern European Cup. The cars are exactly the same, apart from a couple of minor changes to the exhausts. And in fact, one of our regulars, Logan Sargent, who's going to be on pole position for tomorrow's race, he is leading that category, about 2 rounds at Pau and at Monza. There is the pole sitter for today, though, Lorenzo Colombo for the JD Motorsport squad, who is really earmarking himself in this middle phase of the championship season as a real title contender. Yes, he's only 7th in the championship, but he is looking regularly very quick these days. Was unlucky not to be on the podium last time out at the Red Bull Ring. It would have been his 3rd podium visit. He did get on the podium, but was later given a 10-second penalty for what must have been a tiny amount in terms of a jump start. So Christian Lundgaard, who is one of the Renault Sport Academy drivers, is another very quick rookie. The Danish driver is 2nd in the championship standings at the moment, took a race win at Monza. Oscar Piastri, who's come up from the British Formula 4 Championship, one of the 3 Australian drivers that we have in the field. He's here with the British team, the Arden team, and he is going very well indeed as well. In both of the qualifying sessions, Oscar, and he's not the only driver, Oscar has had a fastest lap taken away for him for track limits, even though he argued that that wasn't the case. It's turn 9, the exit to Le Combe through Malmedy. That's mainly the corner that's been catching them all out as they run over the curbs. You can go onto the curbs, but you can't go all 4 wheels on the curbs and over the white lines. On the exit to the corner, on the run down to Rivage, that's what's been catching them out. Oscar, had it not been for that, would have been quickest in his group. But in the qualifying session earlier on today, which set the grid for this race, he argued his case and was given his time back, which is why we find him on the 2nd row of the grid. Otherwise he'd have been a bit further back. Victor Martins also had a similar penalty, argued his case but didn't win his appeal. So Lorenzo Colombo for JD Motorsports is on pole position. Christian Lundgaard for MP Motorsport starts on the front row with him. Oscar Piastri starting 3rd after being 2nd quickest in his group behind Lorenzo Colombo. Arthur Rougier having his best qualifying session so far in 4th place. He qualified well yesterday as well. And Arthur, who won the French Formula 4 Championship last year, but has been slightly overshadowed by the driver he beat to that title, Victor Martins, another of the Renault Sport Academy drivers this year, and by the other Renault Sport Academy drivers like Max Futrell and Christian Lundgaard. Well, he's really started to look good this last couple of rounds at the Red Bull Ring. Just missed out on some points and here he's looking very rapid. Of course, with Marty Young, the championship team manager at Full Tech Motorsport, and he reckoned in yesterday's qualifying session Arthur was quick enough to be on pole, but he made a couple of small mistakes which cost him 0.4 of a second. So Rougier looking good. He's on the second row. The third row is the championship leader, Yifei, the driver from Joseph Kaufman Racing, the Chinese driver who made history in the early part of the season at Monza by becoming the first ever Chinese pole sitter, then the first ever Chinese race winner in this series. He starts fifth. Logan Sargent starting sixth on the grid for this one, but he's going to be on pole position for the first time in the championship season tomorrow. So they had two qualifying sessions. The session this morning set the grid for today's race, so the second qualifying session sets the grid for race one, and yesterday's qualifying session sets the grid for tomorrow morning's race. Row 4 then Max Futrell and Victor Martins, the two RHGP teammates, and also with the Renault Sport Academy, the Young Driver Development Programme. Charles Milesi, the Monaco winner, one of the Monaco winners, because the other was the Australian driver who took victory there as well, Alex Peroni. But a Monaco victory, ninth on the grids for Charles Milesi. Thomas Maxwell, who is one of the most consistent drivers out there for JD Motorsport, the Australian driver, rounding out the top 10 on the formation lap. Then we go. The points, Yifei has got 124, leads the championship standings by just 6 points. Christian Lundgaard is second on 118. Max Futrell had a good weekend last time out at the Red Bull Ring 6 days ago with a win and a second, so he's up to third in the championship standings now on 109.5 points. The only frustration, the race he won, race one, by 30 seconds, didn't quite get to 75% race distance before it was red flagged because of the rain, and so he only got half points for the win in that one. Otherwise he'd have been much closer to the top two. Victor Martins is fourth in the championship on 102 points. Charles Milesi on 82.5 is fifth, and Logan Sargent in sixth place. The pole position driver, Lorenzo Colombo, looking for his first race win, then be the first Italian to take a race victory for a number of years in the Formula Renault Eurocup, if he can do it. But, and it's a big but, here at Spa, only 32% of the time has the pole position driver gone on to win a race. It's normally the other way around. It's normally the drivers that are starting first or second on the grid go on to win most of the time in the Formula Renault Eurocup. But here, it's the other way around because you give such a big toe to the drivers behind. See if Lorenzo Colombo can do this then. Incidentally, the lowest starting position for a race winner was 9th place, so anything is possible. Chris Hartley here then, trackside, overlooking the start grid, recovering from what was a long walk up to Le Combe this morning to go and watch the qualifying session in the heat here. It's a good half-hour walk just to get up to turns 3 and 4. But now, here we go, ready for the 11th race of the Formula Renault Eurocup. They get underway. Lorenzo Colombo makes a good start, and he looks like it's going to be side-by-side for second place here between Christian Lundgaard and Oscar Piastri. Piastri in the red and white car down the inside on the way to the Le Source Ampin. They're still absolutely side-by-side. Way out wide goes Christian Lundgaard. So do some of the other cars. Hilverhagen doing something similar, having to recover from a lowly grid position. It's flat out now for 30 seconds or so, downhill and into the famous Eau Rouge and Raidillon section. Easy flat out in these cars. A huge steep climb then down the massively long Campbell Straight and up towards Le Combe. Big braking zone it's going to be. So side-by-side action all the way at the end of the field, and Colombo's going to lose the lead of the race. Piastri has drafted past him on the Campbell Straight. Just what we feared might happen. Look at Lundgaard, number 31, down the inside of everybody. Yifei has got a good start as well. He looked like he was about to squeeze past Colombo and into third place. So we've already had two different race leaders. And Lorenzo Colombo has dropped behind Piastri as well, so he's going to be third, possibly fourth when he comes back into view. In fact, he's going to be fifth. They're all swarming past him. Rougier's got past him. There's Logan Sargent, number 2, trying to get up the inside on the way into Ravage as well. Somebody in the background going way out wide, but hopefully they'll survive. Now they go back down the hill, down towards what is the fastest corner of the lap. Almost 200 kilometres an hour. Just a quick dab on the brakes through Pouhon. Hold on to your hats through the left-hander. It spirals downhill all the way through there. And lots of runoff these days. Used to be a huge gravel trap there, but it's still a real challenge for the drivers. Lundgaard then from Piastri, up to third. Rougier fourth. Coming back under attack though from the pole sitter Colombo, who's just about shut the door on everybody else and runs in 5th place. Logan Sargent just behind in 6th. Then it looked like Futrell in 7th. He's been thereabouts in qualifying, but it hasn't been his strongest pace performance so far of all the rounds that we've been to. But you never discount Max Futrell. He's a real fighter. He's the driver with the most wins this season. 3 wins, 5 podium finishes. Championship leader Yifei, one of 7 different race winners we've had so far this season. If we get a new race winner in this one, it's going to equal the Formula Renault Eurocup record already, only just halfway into the season. So they go around the very quick section now through Blanchiment, absolutely nailing it through this section down towards the chicane, then hard on the brakes, the hardest braking zone. Look at the number 1 car, Max Futrell, trying to find his way through. Logan Sargent has got his nose in front of Lorenzo Colombo, and then it's Victor Martins, Max Futrell, the number 1 car, just behind them. Victor Martins just a couple of places back. Lundgaard leads after the end of a breathless first lap of the race. Piastri in second, Ye third, Colombo fourth, Sargent fifth, Futrell sixth. Thomas Maxwell going well just behind in 7th place, Martins in 8th, Leslie 9th after a poor weekend at the Red Bull Ring, and Richard Verschoor rejuvenated coming into the second half of the season and picking up his first podium of the year at the Red Bull Ring in Austria just a few days ago. He's rounding out the top 10 at the moment. Look at that sight as they charge their way up through the mighty Eau Rouge in 7th gear at over 220 kilometres an hour. It's absolutely insane, this circuit. Then this massive drafting opportunity. They go 2-3 abreast. Oscar Piastri with his nose in front has drafted back ahead of Lundgaard for the lead of the race. EVA, the championship leader, just behind. And they're side by side again here, but Piastri makes the move stick. He comes down to Le Gon out through Malmedy. This is the corner that's on the exit, been catching all of them out for track limits. Loads of drivers losing times in the qualifying session this morning. And then EVA coming under fire here, but he's going to hold on to his position. It's one of the AVF cars who's just come underneath the commentary box into the pit lane with a problem, I'm afraid. And Rouge has dropped way down the order as well, hasn't he, after having had that really good qualifying session. So he came... Rouge is still there, up in 4th place. We've got 1 or 2 coming in. Altmere is the one that's dropped down the order. And Peroni also has had a difficult first lap of the race, but fellow Australian Oscar Piastri, the new race leader, by just a few fractions of a second. Lundgaard second, EVA in 3rd place. He's one of only 3 drivers this year to score points in every single race in the championship bar 1, so 9 points finishes from 10. He actually finished in the points in the 1 race he missed out on, but was later given a penalty for contact with Max Futrell in race 2 at Monza. Victor Martins is another one that's been up there in the points in every race bar 1. So too Christian Lundgaard. Martins only missed out by 1 place, 11th in the first race of the season at the Castellet. So they're the 3 consistent drivers, and it's going to be a big thing, consistency this year. There, number 1, Max Futrell, trying to have a look at the insides into La Fagna, into the chicane, but the number 2 car of Logan Sargent fends him off as they come back out onto the start-finish straight. Back in front of the box and down towards the braking zone for La Source, down to 2nd gear, 68 kilometres an hour. Slowest corner of the lap. There is Thomas Maxwell, another very rapid Australian driver, back for his 2nd season in the championship. One of the drivers that races in the Italian JD Motorsport squad, teammate to Lorenzo Colombo. And over the line, the gap from 1st to 2nd was just over half a second. Lorenzo Colombo down to 8th place now, the pole position driver. So it's Piastri, Lundgaard, Ye the top 3, Rouge 4th, Sargent 5th, Futrell in 6th, Maxwell, Colombo, Verschoor and Milesi rounding out the points at the moment. And it's side by side for the lead of the race. It's almost side by side between Martin Rougier here and the number 87 car, looking for his first points of the season. Out wide goes Oscar Piastri. He's going to go from 1st to 3rd, and that was all the way through Le Gon. Have to drag the cars back across to the left there. And I noticed this morning in qualifying they get really twitchy because that second part of Le Gon, the left-hander, is where you stop climbing uphill and it starts to descend. That's the peak, if you like. They're uphill all the way from Eau Rouge all the way up through the Kemmel Straight to Le Gon. It's still uphill there, but through the second part, that's where it suddenly starts to drop downhill, and you run downhill then all the way through Rivage down towards Pouhon. So the back end of the car suddenly becomes very light, and they have to quickly snap the car across to the left to take the line into the right-hander at Malmedy. So the cars do get twitchy there, and it's easy to run wide, and that looks like it's what's happened to Piastri. He goes from 1st down to 3rd place with that switch around, although they're all ganging up on each other again. And Milesi having a better run here, having had a real good run at Silverstone, a race winner, a win at Monaco, a 2nd place at Monaco. He was on real good form going into the previous weekend that we had just 6 or 7 days ago in Austria, but he only scored a single point. He had a 10th and a 13th, which dropped him down to 5th in the championship. But Milesi looking a bit more rapid here so far this weekend at Spa and making good progress. And a word as well for Alex Smolyar, who is normally up there in the points. The Russian driver didn't qualify too well, but he's just outside the points now as well, and has made good progress at the start of this race from the 7th row of the grid, making up a few positions already. He's got more work to do tomorrow as well. There is the Sharon Scolari car, the SCO race team, and she is one of the NEC drivers looking for her own points. Got into a good position last time out at Monza. The leaders come through. Lundgaard, Piastri now the top three after that shuffle at Le Mans. Rouget fourth is close to them as well. Look, he's only half a second or so behind. Then Logan Sargent, the second of the Renault Sport Academy cars. Max Futrell is next up in sixth place, pretty close to them. Colombo's got back up to seventh, so he's ahead of Maxwell now. He's down to eighth for sure, and Milesi's still rounding out the points. I know Otmir has started to come back as well. He's just gained a place, so he's not far outside of the top 10 after all sorts of engine problems on his return to the championship at the Red Bull Ring last time out. A big lock up there for Christian Lundgaard. You've got to be careful not to lock up because, as I say, if you get the wrong entry into the Le Mans, it really does mess up your line through the second and third parts of the S's section of this chicane here. So be careful not to lock up. They were getting away with it this morning. Everybody was very smooth there, even though it's a very hard braking zone. But Christian Lundgaard there scrubbing the tyre. Didn't give anybody enough of a toe though to lose his lead. Ifier, the consistent driver there that leads the championship standings. Only one win this season, but 5 podium finishes, 9-point scoring rounds. A slender 6-point lead. However, his nearest championship rival is the driver that leads the race at the moment, Christian Lundgaard. His dad, Henrik Lundgaard, was a European rallycross star. And Christian, who won 2 championship titles last year, the Spanish Formula 3 Championship and the Formula Renault Northern European Cup. He's a rookie and going absolutely brilliantly. He's the top rookie in the championship standings in second place, although 5 of the top 7 this year are rookies. We've got some really rapid drivers coming into the championship this year. The only drivers in the top 7 that are back for a second season of the championship. Ifier, the championship leader of Max Futrell, who was the Rookie League championship winner last year and is in third place overall in the standings here at the moment. So they come through. Lundgaard, Piastri, the top 3, Rouget, Sargent and Futrell in the second group. Not too far behind them. Looking for Max Futrell, who's about to make a move here up the inside of Logan Sargent. The American's going to lose out, under braking to the British driver. He has to close the door because Lorenzo Colombo is trying to come around the outside of him in the number 61 car. Then you've got the white and green car of Thomas Maxwell breathing down their necks as well. He's trying to keep an eye on the mirrors though, because he's got the black and orange machine of Richard Verschoor, the Dutch driver, just behind him. So a good move that from Max Futrell, the 2016 British Formula 4 champion. A good bit of out-braking going into the chicane towards the end of the lap. Look at the downhill run now, down to the bottom of the valley, and then the compression on these drivers absolutely huge as their bodies are forced down into the seats by the G-force through Eau Rouge. 223 kilometres an hour. Now Lorenzo Colombo going on the attack here on the Campbell Straight. He already pulls out of the slipstream and he's going to try and find a way through, but also try and block Thomas Maxwell at the same time. Logan Sargent, can he hang on to his position here for the top 6? Lorenzo Colombo comes through. Thomas Maxwell tries to follow him but can't because Logan Sargent just shuts the door in time in the number 2 car. Good battling performance this. Logan had a horrid weekend at the Red Bull Ring last weekend. Everything seemed to go against him in qualifying sessions and the races. He walked away without a single point to his name, which is not like Logan, who won the first race of the season and has been a pretty consistent driver this year. For him, I suppose it's good that there's been this very short turnaround between race weekends. He hasn't had time to linger on it. He's just been able to get back on it, and he has responded absolutely superbly, Logan Sargent. Another driver to come up through the British Formula 4 Championship. So here they come back into view. Ifier has been smoothly and serenely closing that gap to the race leader, hasn't he, over the last lap and a half or so, and he's almost now onto the tail of Christian Lundgaard. There they go, Oscar Piastri in third place. Rouget has got a bit of a break in fourth after that battle that we saw between Max Futrell and Logan Sargent. But Max will get his head down now, no doubt, and in fact the fastest first sector of the whole race has gone to Thomas Maxwell, just behind in 8th place, so he's going very rapidly as well. The 41.4, he's 7/10 quicker than anybody in front of him through that first sector. Charging their way now through Blanchimont, down the back, through the forest, through the woods, down towards the chicane. Little look at the inside there, but nothing doing. Right then left through the chicane, the bus stop chicane. Second gear, 70 kilometres now, back up through the gears, then immediately back down the gears to second again for La Source. Turn 1 these days. Let's go past the Grand Prix pits, through La Source, then past the old Heritage pits, which are still there. Lorenzo Colombo in front of Logan Sargent still after that move on the start of the lap. But now, of course, he's going to give a toe to the American, so it could be a change around once more. Thundering downhill they come once more. There's still less than half a second between the top two. There's still less than a second between the top 3 cars in this race. It's incredibly close stuff here in the Formula Renault Eurocup. It is a wide open championship. 17.5 minutes still left on the clock. Most drivers still out there without any real dramas. One big name that we've lost down the order is Victor Martins. Has been in and out of the pits, and he's now a couple of laps down. So Victor Martins, not sure what's happened to him. It was early on in the race that he suffered drama, but Victor, who is a key championship contender, was a race winner at the Red Bull Ring and a pole sitter. We see Otto Rougier there locking up, dropping down the order. Potentially, so lock-up nose okay, still on the tail of them, but it's going to get a little bit tired. He's pushing hard, that's why he's closing the gap to Piastri. There he is in 4th place, down through Pouon. And what about Max Futrell just behind him? Was not quite as quick actually, still quick. 4th and 5th, quicker than the top 3. The gap's coming down. The quickest man in the lead group at the moment is Arthur Rougier in 4th place. So there they come. The top 3 still gelled together. Rougier, number 87, almost now with them, almost now onto the tails. Remember, looking for his first points finish of the season, the French Formula 4 champion of last year. Close last weekend in 11th place. Somebody else who got incredibly close last weekend as well to finishing the points for the first time was Axel Matthews, the Mexican driver. He ran 10th for more or less the whole race until a couple of laps to go, and then he just lost out, finishing in 11th place. But he's a bit further back here so far this weekend. There's lots of the rookie drivers, some of them coming in, like Eliseo Martinez, with no car racing experience, coming directly out of cars. So a big challenge for those drivers. There is Oscar Piastri. He's at his turn at the head of the field. It's going to be for a decent grid position for tomorrow's race as well. But Lundgaard just controlling the pace here. Yay, and Piastri hanging on to him. Rougier and Futrell have caught them up now, so it's 5 for the lead. It's going to be 6 for the lead soon as well, because Lorenzo Colombo is coming up. There is Jarno Opmeer, who very difficult for him to come in mid-season. He raced in the championship last year with the same team, MP Motorsport. It's under Dortmund's team, but he did the winter testing. It was all looking good. He said we made some big progress in winter tests, but he couldn't get the funding together, the budget together, and has had to sit out the first half of the season. Hasn't done any racing. Oh dear, stopping out on the track there. The driver I was just talking about, Axel Matthews, number 51, and he's going to get out of the car. So the AVF car has stopped, and he replaces the steering wheel. The benefit of having a very long lap is that hopefully the marshals will have time to sort that out, as we see the battle between Richard Verschoor, ninth in the championship last year. Horrible start to the season for him. Just wasn't quite hooking things together as Matthews heads for the barriers and to safety. The car, though, is parked right on the edge of the circuit, coming up towards the end of the lap, the run down towards the bus stop chicane. Where's the help, he says, as he tries to find his way back to safety. So there's going to be some yellow flags there. A warning for Arthur Rougier for track limits, oh dear. So he's got to keep an eye out for that. As I said, they've all been punished for it in practice sessions, qualifying sessions, and so forth. Lundgaard leads, though, number 31. Top 3 have followed each other around for a few laps now after that really active first couple of laps where they all swap positions. Colombo on pole, led for a little bit. Piastri went from 3rd to 1st. He led for a lap or so before Christian Lundgaard came charging through on the run down the Camel Straight there towards Le Combe. The stricken car is still there. The driver is fine. The race continues as it stands. 0.6 of a second between the top 2. The gap's just crept out by another 1/10 of a second or so. Coming into that yellow flag zone now. They'll have plenty of warning that there's a car there, both visually and through the marshals and the yellow flag system. So yellow flags here, no overtaking. And they all will start to bunch up together now through that section. It's well off the racing line, but very much on the circuit. There's no attempts at the moment to move the car. Christian Lundgaard then, looking for his 2nd win of the season. It says a lot for him that you, even though he's a rookie, expect him to be up there, and it's been slightly off the boil the last couple of rounds. A couple of 5th place finishes at Monaco, another 5th place at the Red Bull Ring. Then he was promoted onto the podium had finished 4th on the road, promoted when Lorenzo Colombo picked up his 10-second jump start penalty. But he's still been bagging the points. At the start of the season, he was absolutely electric with 3 podiums on the bounce, culminating that maiden race victory in Monza, race 2 in Monza, where he pulled off a fabulous move around the outside to get the race victory, get the race win away from Lorenzo Colombo, as Yvier is coming under attack from Oscar Piastri, but fends him off. The second, in the number 16 car, and his mirror's full, and then right alongside him came the Australian at the end of the Kemmel straight, picking up the toe, but there was no way through, nothing giving. The Chinese driver hangs on to the position for the time being. Right now, Axel's been beckoned back to the car, and the marshals are now moving the stricken AVF machine to a safer place. So that will be dealt with, I think, probably before the cars get back around. So the yellows may be withdrawn on the run into the bus stop. So good job by the marshals. They've got time to get it sorted as we watch Arthur Rougier trying to close this gap, trying not only to get his first points of the season, now to try and get his first podium of the season if he can. But Futrell getting ever closer in the mirrors, and the pole sitter Lorenzo Colombo not far back either. Langardier, Piastri, Rougier, Futrell and Colombo are all together. Sargent really and Maxwell are not far off that group either. Well, Maxwell and Sargent should say that way around. There is Lorenzo Colombo then. 2 podium finishes to his name so far, a second and a third at the start of the season. Another podium at the Red Bull Ring, could have been 4 podiums. Actually picked up the trophy, and it was only later on after the race that he was investigated and given this 10-second jump start penalty, which dropped him back to 6th place in the end and off the podium. Otherwise it'd been a super weekend for him. He's had the pace all the way through the season, and as he said to me last week, just need a bit less bad luck. And a few things that have gone slightly against him. It's not the only one. Max Futrell can certainly argue that case with things that have gone against him on occasion this year. At the moment he's not quite in a position to start challenging and going forwards, but Max is a driver that is good at looking after his tyres. His Michelin tyres do last well, but they haven't been tested in terms of the heat that we've got here this weekend. I suppose the closest we came was probably last weekend at the Red Bull Ring, although that was patches of rain throughout the course of the weekend, and the start through the end of race 1 was rained off. But it was hot there. It wasn't this hot, but it was around about 30 degrees last weekend. Nothing like this though. Great shots they make their way up to Eau Rouge and the Rally on. Now down this Kemmel straight, and it's at the end of the straight where we've seen lots of overtaking as they come into the second heaviest braking zone on the lap. And Futrell showing his, well, not really showing his nose, but just blocking his line, because Colombo was right with him. Richard Vichura has got ahead of Logan Sargent now, so Sargent started to slip back. He lost that to Maxwell, now he's lost that to Vichura, the number 2 car now down another place. He's slipping back towards the tail end of the top 10, and only the top 10 score points. Next in view, he's going to be the number 3 car of his RSGP teammate Charles Milesi. RSGP lead the team standings. They've had the most race wins this year as a team. They've had 7 race wins from the 10. We haven't had one driver that's won both races in a weekend yet, but the RSGP team have done it 3 times this season. 3 times their drivers have taken the victories, both the victories on a race weekend. So the French squad, who also lead the Formula Renault Northern European Cup, which is joining us on the grid this weekend, they are very much the team to beat, winners of the championship title last year. Cheese makes his way back, not his day today, but he'll try again tomorrow. As we keep our eyes on Oscar Piastri in 3rd place. He's just starting to just spread a little bit now between the top 6. I mean, all bunched together a couple of laps ago. Nobody was able to make a move. Futrell's dropping back again from Rougier. Part of the reason is because the top 2 are still going very rapidly indeed. 2:22.4 for Lundgaard, 2:22.5 for Ye. They're their personal best lap times for both of them. Maxwell has set the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap, a 2:22.429. So they're looking after their tyres well. About half of the field have just set personal best lap times though, so the Michelin tyres standing up well, even in the huge heat we've got. The air temperature 36, 37 degrees, the track temperature well over 41, 42 degrees, and now Oscar Piastri is going to go up for the inside into La Source. It's a good move, he's committed to it. Yvier is a fair driver, gives him the room, and that's the first real attacking move we've seen at turn 1 into La Source, so it was a really good exit from the bus stop that did it. That brings Rouget a little bit closer to them in 4th place. The Tech driver still on for his best finish of the year so far. And look at this, almost side by side as they come up through Radion. If he trying to fight back, the Chinese driver will have to go on the outside line at the end of the Camel Straight. I'd watch for Rouget as well. He's almost going to get a double toe here. Piastri comes under fire. He sees it coming. He blocks the line and through back into 2nd place. He's going to go year for year. But what about Rouget? Can he follow him through and get ahead of Piastri as well? They lock up the front right. There was almost contact between them. It's so tight through there. Now they snap back across the line. Piastri does fend off Rouget, but again it's by the narrowest of margins, and he's in his mirrors again, blocking the line on the crest down into the braking zone for Rivage. And look how much closer all of a sudden Max Futrell has got to them. He was way behind them and now he's right onto their case, and it's just because they've been racing each other hard. This is going to be great news for Christian Lundgaard. Look, he's gone. He is suddenly about 7-8 car lengths clear, and it's going to be something like a 2.5 clear, I think, when he comes back through the next timing trap. All because of that battle at the start of the lap. It was Piastri that got the move initially at the end of, well, start of the lap on the way into La Source. Good move from him. And yeah, fighting back the Chinese driver. Now look at Max Futrell. On the case of Otto Rouget as they go right and left through the Fania chicane, and into Stavolo they will now come. And what about Maxwell? He's getting closer as well. He's set the fastest lap of the race. He's in 7th place for sure. In 8th, Sargent 9th, Malesi in 10th. The Russian driver is just outside the point still. Not close enough to attack Malesi just yet. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th come through. Rouget tried his best to take advantage of that little squabble that was going on ahead, but Piastri was pretty robust in the defence of his position, and there was no way through. Here's Lorenzo Colombo and Thomas Maxwell. Maxwell is absolutely flying in this race. Coming through, Maxwell 12th in the championship at the moment. His best result so far this season, a 6th place finish in the first weekend. Race 2 at Paul Ricard, Le Castellet. Green and white machine on the tail of his teammate, though, don't forget. So JD Motorsport on for a good haul of points here. They'll be hoping their two drivers are sensible with one another as they make their way through the right-hander at the source. 5 minutes, 50 seconds plus a lap left on the clock here. Damn, look at that shot as they go right onto the curve there. Speaking to Frank Bird this morning, he says it's easy flat out. Underneath the commentary box, Neil Verhagen, who's having a miserable weekend so far, has come into the pits. And now Thomas Maxwell pulls out of the slipstream, starts to show his nose. As soon as you pull out of the slipstream, though, you hit the rush of air and it slows you up, and it's still side by side for 2nd and 3rd. No change given there. Maxwell's got to try the outside line, and that's not going to happen, so he pulls back in away. Victor Martins comes back into the pits underneath, so this is really a prolonged test session now for him. So it's going to be down to 2 drivers that have been in the points in every race but one. Victor Martins was one of the 3 that had that honour, and that's only and Lundgaard. As it stands, they've only dropped points in 1 race so far this season. So we go to the final 5 minutes left on the clock. So 2.5 seconds the gap that Christian Lundgaard now has. That's going to be the biggest winning margin we've had so far this season, if he keeps that up. But it was all really helped out by that big fight that was going on for seconds. Not to take anything away though from Christian, because even though they were pretty close to him, he's, ever since he got the lead, controlled things really well. And the Danish driver will be absolutely delighted to be back on the top step of the podium. So through they come. Colombo's sort of gone on the front foot now. He's pulled back away from Maxwell. He's got onto the tail of the 5th place car of Max Futrell. He's getting awarded now for track limits, number 24, Frank Bird. For his 2nd points finish of the weekend. Oh dear, and we've got an off for the NEC car of Sharon Scolari. Yellow flags waving, looks like it's the top of Radion, and it's gone oversteered off and into the barriers. So the marshal's attending to that at the moment, and the car off the track, and effectively on the pit lane exit lane there, so still in a bit of a precarious position. We'll see what comes of that as Christian Lundgaard comes back through with just under 4 minutes left on the clock, and the safety car is going to be deployed. Oh dear for Christian Lundgaard. That nice big comfortable lead is going to evaporate to nothing, but as I said, he was controlling it before. Now this is what happened to Sharon on her own. Just lost the back end as it went up through the top of Radion, and you see that sometimes, the car pirouetting around. No way she could scrub off the speed before she got to the barriers. Hopefully Sharon will be okay. one of the 4 drivers coming in from the Formula Renault NEC. Gabriel Gandulia, the Argentinian in the number 5 car, who's joined as another entrant in the already full 10 to RHGP. He's the best of the drivers in that championship, 7th in the points of the non-Eurocup regulars. I can see Sharon is moving the car, the ex-Lotus Eurocup racer, talking to the marshals, and looks like he's going to get out of the car of her own accord. So that's great news. The car is looking decidedly second-hand, but the marshals, the medical team, making sure she's okay before she gets up. Sure, she's going to be dazed and maybe a bit bruised and battered, because that was a massive off at those speeds. But fantastic news that she's been able to get out of the car on her own. She definitely looks a little bit world-weary, doesn't she? But it doesn't look like it's a serious one. I'm sure they'll take her to the medical centre as a precautionary check. And she's been dazed, helped into the car, the medical car, by the team there at that part of the circuit. So safety car, will it end under the safety car with so little time left on the clock? We'll bunch them all up. It's a long old lap here as well. It's still trying to gather them all up together here, you see, as well. So it could well be that we might not get any more racing laps here, I suspect. Christian Lundgaard won't care. It'll be a race victory number 2 for him, and 25 points to the 18 of Ifie, the only driver ahead of him in the points. So 7 points the difference, and guess what? He's only 6 behind in the championship. So if it stays like this, we are going to have ourselves a new championship leader. Christian Lundgaard, he's going to move by 1 point, I reckon, into the points lead ahead of Ifie. He'll move on to 143 points, and 142 it'll be Ifie. Max Futrell will extend his advantage in 3rd, because Victor Martin's 4th in the championship. He's not going to score points. Sharon Scolari, 5th in the championship. He's only going to score 1 point. He's 10th at the moment. And then we've got Logan Sargent, who's 6th in the championship. He's only going to score a couple of points. He's 9th at the moment. So the top 3 are going to start to give themselves a bit of clear air at the end of today in terms of the championship. It's still a long, long way to go. It's only the 6th event of 10. 6th weekend of 10, this long 20 race season that we have, but it's now that they start looking at the points in the championship, start thinking about that. Still a long way to go. We've got Budapest at the end of August, 2 visits to Germany, Hockenheim, Nürburgring, the end of the season in October at the Circuit de Catalunya. And who knows who's going to be in the championship fight when we get to that point, because it is still, I reckon, going to be wide open. But it's starting to take a bit more shape now. Up until this race, you were thinking Victor Martins, Logan Sargent, Lorenzo Colombo, all starting to catch up the lead group in terms of the points, but haven't had such a good race here. Not to say they won't tomorrow. And of course, Logan Sargent, remember, he's going to be on pole. Good this for Oscar Piastri, who is on for his first podium finish of the season. He's there in 3rd place as it stands. His previous best was a 5th place finish at the Castellet. In fact, he was very quick in the first weekend of the season. He was in the top 6 in both races there, but he had to wait until the Red Bull Ring last weekend before he got into the top 6 again. 6th and 9th was his 2nd best weekend. He was pretty rapid most of the time. There you can see the damage to the nose and the front right wheel, where it seemed to have taken the brunt of the collision with the barriers there. What a high speed off that was, and fantastic, as I say, that Sharon got out of the car. And not surprisingly, the race is not going to be resumed. The clock had ticked down to 0 anyway. Unlike the red flags at the Red Bull Ring 2 races ago, 1 week ago, we've definitely got to 75% race distance this time, because there's only a few minutes left on the clock. And Christian Lundgaard is going to pick up his 2nd race victory of the season, and more importantly, he's going to move into the championship lead, I reckon. 25 points for him, 18 points for Ifie. And that, by my maths, it was never my strongest suit at school, but I think it's going to be a point lead for the Dane. But how close is it in this championship? Christian Lundgaard, only the 3rd driver this year to win more than 1 race. Max Futrell's won 3, Christian's now won 2. And Sharon Scolari is the other driver with victories at Silverstone and Monaco to win 2 races. About 18 different drivers in the points. We've had 10 drivers, I think it is, scoring podium finishes this year. And it just shows what a high-level field we've got in this championship. So the race is going to be won by Christian Lundgaard. Ifie in 3rd third place, Oscar Piastri with his first podium in the Formula Renault Eurocup. Arthur Rougier with his first points in the Formula Renault Eurocup and a very strong drive to 4th place. And then Max Futrell 5th, Lorenzo Colombo 6th, Thomas Maxwell, who looked very rapid in that race, in 7th place. That is one of his best finishes of the year. He's had a couple of 7ths and a 6th, so good work by Thomas. 8th place to Richard Bachot, and 9th going to Logan Sargent, who dropped back over the last few laps of the race, but started really well. Charles Melezi gets the final point in 10th, Smoliar in 11th, Otmir 12th, Ron Guzman 13th. Spoke to Raul briefly yesterday, and he said the race pace is always good, but it's qualifying that we need to improve. It's so often the case, isn't it? But it's so close. We have just fractions of a second between them all. It's about hooking the perfect lap together in qualifying. You could stick any one of a dozen drivers on pole position and they could win you a race, but it's getting there at the end of qualifying. So here they come into victory lane. Christian Lundgaard, the race winner. I spoke to Max Futrell last weekend about this. What's it like to win a race behind the safety car or the red flag? Do you mind? Not really, he said. Afterwards you think, yeah, it would have been nice to take the flag, but what you're really thinking about is points, and it's the maximum points for Christian Lundgaard, who takes the race victory. Another race win this season for the MP Motorsport squad, the Dutch squad, who are looking very strong in this championship campaign. Yes, RSGP are leading the standings, but MP Motorsport have been their nearest rivals this year, and they pick up another race win. Went 2 with Christian now. Of course, that famous victory at Monaco with Alex Peroni as well. And deep joy for the team, who've been sticking away at it the last couple of rounds, but Christian is back, fighting hard, trying hard. He gives it 100% every single session. And a deserving race winner. Oscar Piastri there having a post-race debrief with him, chatting it through. Love to know what they say to each other. Is it positive or not? But Piastri should be delighted with his performance, 3rd place. Loves this place. First time he's raced around here, but he was part of the winter tests here and loved it then, loves it now. Gets his first podium here. Christian Lundgaard then, the winner by 2.8 seconds from Ivier. 3rd place to Piastri, 4th Rougier, 5th Futrell, 6th Colombo, Maxwell 7th for sure, Sargent, Melezi in the points, Smoliar 11th, Otmir in 12th place, his best result since returning to the championship. And then 13th place, Raul Guzman, Frank Bird 14th, Alicia Martinez, one of his best results, the Spanish karting champion in 15th, Nikita Volkov, only his 2nd weekend in the championship, getting better all the time. That's his best result so far in 16th in his 3rd Eurocup race. Sami Taufik, Najir Razak, who had a two-place grid penalty, and then Phil Hill was the highest placed of the non-Eurocup regulars, the NEC driver 19th, on Vladimir Tortis, who rounded out the top 20. Some of the key front runners to fail to finish the race, Neil Verhagen and Victor Martins, and as well Alex Peroni, who was out very early on in the race. Axel Bertucci's car we saw stopping out on track, and Sharon Scolari, the car that crashed at very high speed at the top of Radion into the barriers. Sharon looked okay, if a little dazed, but that brought about the safety car and eventually the red flag. So, a terrific 2nd race victory of this season for Christian Lundgaard. Dakota is now talking to your race winner here at Spa.
Christian, a massive congratulations. What a race that was. I bet you're so relieved to have just won that race.
Yeah, finally we had a very bad time for the last races in Silverstone, so it's nice to get back on the top. We've had some problems with all those qualifyings, missing less than a tenth of the pole, but now we were still less than a tenth off pole, but we got the lap because his lap got deleted, so it's nice to finally have it.
You're absolutely flying on track. Were you feeling any pressure from behind you?
Well, I was struggling a lot with rear locking and front locking at the same time, so it was quite difficult to keep the brake bias, but still, yeah, of course, it's nice to win it.
Awesome race, well done.
Thanks, Dakota. Good to hear from Christian Lundgaard. A bad time since Silverstone. Silverstone was a difficult weekend. They just couldn't get the car balance right there, and he really struggled in qualifying. And had a DNF, got a penalty for a race incident as well. But he's been banging the 5th place finishes since then. It's not been that bad. I'll have a look at some race highlights now then, while we wait for the drivers to make their way onto the podium. It was a frenetic start to the race here. in 37-degree air temperature. Lorenzo Colombo on pole position, got off the line well, but look at the squabble for second place as Oscar Piastri got up the inside of Christian Lundgaard on the way into La Source for the first time. So your eventual race winner going way out wide there and dropping down the order on the exit to the turn down to third place. Onto the Kemmel Straight for the first time. This is where Lorenzo Colombo knew it's going to be hard work as he gave a big toe to everybody else. Piastri early on making his move and getting through. He led, but then Christian Lundgaard a couple of laps later came storming through and VA followed him as Piastri dropped from first to third. We saw the demise of Axel Matthews there as the Adrian Vallas racing car stopped on the run down towards the bus stop chicane and brought out the yellow flags. The marshals then moving the car a lap later to safety, and it was full course green once again thereafter. There were no safety car, didn't matter, we still had a very tightly bunched up front field. Then there was this battle between Oscar Piastri and VA, and down the inside into La Source, a terrific move for the Australian to go second. His first visit to the podium would await, but he wasn't able to hold on to second as these three started to fight each other. Fights back, and you got Arthur Rouget just behind as well, looking for his first podium of the season. It really did allow Christian Lundgaard to get a massive lead. Then this was the big moment as we lost Sharon Scolari at the top of Eau Rouge through Radion and into the barriers at over 200 kilometres an hour. She was okay, but the safety car was deployed, and that meant that with just a few minutes left on the clock, there was never really going to be any more green flag action. Christian Lundgaard didn't care because he was the race winner. So there was the highlights, just a few of them because there were many highlights in what was a cracking race. The first 4 or 5 laps of that race were absolutely breathtaking. But Christian Lundgaard kept on top. He said there to Dakota at the post-race interview that he was just struggling with a brake bias and they can adjust that in the car themselves. He had a few lockups, didn't he? It wasn't the normal smooth style that we see from Christian. So he was fighting the car a little bit, but he controlled it beautifully. It's been a busy 24 hours or so for these drivers. There were lots of delays with other races and sessions yesterday. So it was 7:30 last night before they went out and did their qualifying session. Nearly 8 o'clock before they finished. And a word for the teams as well, who've been working frenetically. It's a really quick turnaround between the Red Bull Ring and this event, with everything starting a day earlier. They went straight here. I spoke, as I said, to the Fulltech team, and they came straight here. No point going home. We'd have been home for about 10 hours. We'd have had to get a flight again. So the truck comes straight here. It's 24 hours of driving for the trucks. 1,000 kilometres between the 2 race venues. Of course, the rest of the teams fly across, but they had to start setting up on Tuesday, having finished on Sunday afternoon at the Red Bull Ring. So it's a breathless weekend for them. But of course, these teams, many of them, compete in other championships as well. You see many of the Fulltech boys will be, if they weren't here this weekend, they'd have been at Snetterton supporting the British Formula 4 Championship, the drivers that they have in that. So it's rarely a weekend off for them. It's been a really frenetic time. But when you get the win, it's well worth it, and you can see the joy there for the MP Motorsport team, who are a very lively bunch, as you can imagine, the Dutch team, and they'll be delighted. So too will the Arden team. They've got a real find here. Oscar Piastri, impressive in British Formula 4 last year, gets his first podium as we go to the second half of the season. VA may have lost the championship lead, but he keeps on bagging the podiums, he keeps on bagging the points. It was a good performance from him there. He struggled in qualifying last week at the Red Bull Ring, but he's back on form here as we get the Danish national anthem.
Voilà pour la victoire.
The Danish national anthem here, race 1 of the weekend at Spa-Francorchamps. And we have top 3. Our rookie winner is already on the top step of the podium. So we get 2 trophies, Christian Lundgaard, as Benoit Nogier presents the trophies. And of course our winning team represented there to the left of the picture, MP Motorsport. So Piastri's had the 3rd place trophy. Tariq Ayed Sayed for Renault Sport Racing presents the 2nd place trophy, 6th podium of the year for VA, and then it's the overall winners trophy to Christian Lundgaard, his 2nd win, his 5th podium visit, and the rookie win as well. Hard to imagine, he's a rookie driver, terrific talent he is, a name to watch out for in the future. They've all come through the Formula Renault Eurocup. Drivers like Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly. been in recent years involved in this championship. Brendan Hartley was a champion in 2007. Daniel Ricciardo was a winner here at Spa in the Formula Renault Eurocup, second in the championship before going on to become a race winner in Formula 1. Champagne time now for Christian Lundgaard. They'll go back, they'll debrief, they'll get the car as set up as they can for tomorrow, and then it's at the end of tomorrow morning when we have our second race of the weekend. So Christian Lundgaard takes the race victory and the championship lead by 1 point from Chris Hartley and the team here at Spa. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. We'll see you again for race 2 tomorrow. Bye for now.